Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my winter favourites. Another video in my seasonal favourites series, and I've got some excellent recommendations for the products that I most love during these freezing frosty winter months. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so as always with these videos, I'm going to start off with 3 fragrances that I especially love at this time of year. Now, what I especially like about the cooler winter months here in England is it means you can pull out your biggest beast mode fragrances, and they're not going to warm up on the skin so that nobody around you can breathe. They're just going to stay warm and cozy in a bubble around you without becoming too much or too cloying. So you can reach for your sweetest, your most potent fragrances in the winter months, more so than any other time of year. So on that note, first up, we're going to talk about Mancera's Red Tobacco. This is without question the most potent fragrance in my entire collection, and I really prioritize beast mode performances. You know, I've told you guys my skin eats fragrance, and yes, I do moisturize my skin. Yes, I do know all the tips and tricks. However, they don't work for my skin. A fragrance has to really perform incredibly well for it to perform well on me, because my skin eats it for breakfast. And this is the first fragrance I ever remember purchasing that really was too much to begin with. So this is one, I mean, you can see I've had this a long time, and it's really only just below the sort of ridge of the bottle, because you need one spray of this, one. Okay, don't go nuts. Whatever you do, you'll have to evacuate. One spray of this, and it is the most warming, coziest scent. A little bit of sweetness in there that comes through towards the end with the vanilla in the base, but this is without question a very potent tobacco scent, as you would guess from the name. It's got a bit of fruity, it's got a fruity, spicy sort of opening, but this is a very warm, spicy fragrance, really potent. You really need to love a very well-rounded tobacco note, but a potent tobacco note nonetheless. My husband loves this on me. He finds it so sexy, and it is very unisex. Certainly, probably for most people, leans quite masculine, but my husband finds this super sexy. It's creamy and warm, and if you are, you know, a few degrees below freezing, a couple of sprays of this and you'll be right back up to a good 10 degrees or more. Next up, something that is also really quite beast mode in its performance, but a lot less divisive and a lot easier to wear, and this is Encens Sauve from Matiere perfume. I really just start to love this fragrance in winter. I feel like in spring and summer I'm always a bit on the fence with it, because it really for me is a cold weather fragrance, and it's just a bit too much for the nose during the warmer months. So this opens with a gorgeous, realistic coffee note, and then it's got some incense and Madagascar vanilla in the middle, and then a benzoin labdanum combo in the base. It's just so, again, warm, cozy, but not coming from a very typical vanilla-y or tobacco-y fragrance. It's not got any boozy notes in there, but it definitely has a bit of a boozy vibe because it's got that really warm, spicy effect to it. So beautiful. Love that incensey vanilla combination in the middle that never gets too old lady. It just stays a little bit more modern and youthful smelling than a typical incensey fragrance. And the coffee in there, I mean, this literally reminds me of the most luxurious, been there for centuries coffee shop you can think of. Absolutely delightful, very warming in the winter, and much more forgiving and easier to wear than Red Tobacco is. And going even more wearable again, so we've got something really beast mode, something kind of in the middle, and then something very wearable, much softer, quieter, stays closer to the skin. This is Fragrance de Bois Minuit et Demi, which is the collab that they did with Demi Rawlings, one of my all-time favorite fragrance influencers. This is flipping delightful, and you can overspray this as much as you like and it's still just going to stay in a little bubble around you. It's quiet and understated, but the longevity is really there. So if you just want to get wafts of your fragrance but you don't want everyone around you to be breathing it in all day, this is a perfect choice. So it is a warm spicy. It's got cardamom, pimento and bergamot in the opening, but then it has a caramel coffee heart, and that is the bit that just really speaks to me. I love the middle notes in here. They're so beautiful, creamy sweetness, almost sort of takes a bit of a gourmand turn, reminds me very much of the Armani Privé Magenta Tanzanite, very much along those same vibes. And then it's got a bit of a boozy, vanilla-y, warm, creamy dry down. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. Not quite a skin scent, but a sort of a small, close, personal fragrance. Gorgeous year round. In winter, I feel like it's like a cozy, warm hug and a gorgeous boozy coffee in front of you. So now on to the makeup. Now I've really been sort of thinking about what I'm reaching for and why over the last few weeks, so I can share with you what I'm doing with my makeup as the weather has certainly turned here. We've already had our first couple of snow days and it's been chilly, and I know exactly what I've been reaching for and why. And starting us off, it's the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Primer. This is definitely a product I've been immediately reaching for once the weather really turned. And the reason being, it feels so comforting and hydrating on skin that is like dried out. So what happens here in the winter, I don't know about anywhere else, but in England it obviously gets very, very cold. Everybody and everywhere turns their central heating on max, but then you're quite often going from your face being freezing cold to boiling hot, and you'll get in and out of a car. Maybe I'm taking my children to their swimming lessons, or I'm going on the school run. I'm in and out of hot to cold, and my skin hates it. You know, my rosacea is just absolutely having the time of its life, and my face is on fire most of winter. So having a really nice hydrating primer underneath my foundation, as opposed to my soft matte primer, which I typically prefer and lean towards, is a godsend, especially because one of the foundations that I'm loving this time of year is more matte. So this just keeps my skin a little bit happier and comforted throughout the day, as opposed to just everything being matte on top of it. This is such a beautiful primer, and it's got that gorgeous hydration and glow to it, but you don't sacrifice the smoothing. You still get a gorgeous amount of smoothing because there's quite a lot of silicone in here. So it's very smoothing, very blurring, gorgeous canvas for makeup, but with a little bit of hydration in there, as opposed to my typical soft matte primer that is also a bit mattifying and again taking some of the moisture and the hydration out of my skin. This is just a godsend this time of year. Now, the two foundations I've been using are very different for very different reasons and very different purposes this time of year. First up, the Shiseido Revitallescence Skin Glow. So much like the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Primer, my skin has just been loving this foundation lately. As soon as the heating went on and my face started to burn, I started reaching for this foundation more and more. It's very hydrating, it's glowy, which of course I love. It's got a sort of medium, like the lighter end of medium amount of coverage, and it just really keeps my skin happy and hydrated all day long. The other foundation that is a very different beast is the Tom Ford Soft Matte Architecture foundation, and this is the foundation I'm wearing today. Mixing these two together, a dream. Okay, an amazing dream. If you have these two, try them mixed together. A perfect combination. But this foundation on its own, I cannot tell you. I know I've banged on about how impenetrable it is and how well it wears, but I keep on having to remind myself, because I went to see my little boy play in a football match at the weekend. It was Baltic. It was freezing, okay? All of our timbers were being shivered throughout the entire game. We were there for hours, okay? They, for some reason, started doing penalties after the game was finished. We don't know why. And my eyes were pouring the entire time. You know, when you're cold, it's windy and your eyes are just like crying literally for their lives. pouring tears for 2 hours. I was mortified. I thought, oh my God, I've got like rivers down my cheeks. You know how when tears stream down your face and it literally leaves a little river, a little pattern on your face in your foundation? That's what I thought I was going to look like. And I had to go straight from there to take my daughter to dance. And when I looked in the mirror, my base was flawless, flawless. I'd been bawling against my will, okay? There was nothing sad apart from what was happening to me. But it was unbelievable how this wears throughout any test you can give it. It might bucket down with rain or snow, then be windy, then be freezing, then you'll go into very hot and then cold again. And this foundation says, don't worry about it, I've got you, and will look flawless regardless of literally what has been thrown at your face while you've had it on. It's amazing. And mix a bit of this in for some hydration with this underneath. Forget about it, okay? A delight. And now another product that was also involved in my football mum journey is the Lisa Eldridge Kitten Lash. Again, on that same day I had this mascara on, and was my mascara pouring down my face? No, it wasn't. And again, I thought my mascara is gone, okay? It's gone. We don't know her. We don't know where she is. But when I look in the mirror, I have no mascara on, apart from potentially all over my face and neck even. It's a possibility. But no, it was exactly where I put it. It still looked perfect. I don't know what she put in here, but it's amazing. For this time of year when I'm constantly streaming of the eye, this is the only mascara I will ever wear on a day when I know I'm going to be outside for a long time and my eyes will start letting me down and trying to make a fool of me. This is the mascara I'm going to be wearing because I know it's not going to run, it's not going to stream, it's going to hold up and it's going to look perfect. And I don't know how, but it's not for me to reason why. You know, mine is to do and thrive. So now let's talk about some eyeshadow palettes. I have 4 because I feel like eyeshadow palettes are very seasonal. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but there's certain colour stories that come winter, I start just eating them up, you know? Not literally, but using them a lot is what I mean. First up we have Lisa Eldridge's Vega. She's a cool tone lady, but in a soft, elegant way. It's not too much, you know, not in a way that is unwearable. This is like office friendly, school run friendly, cool tones. So easy, such beautiful flipping shadows. It's a cool lover's dream, but it's so wearable and classy and sophisticated of a sort of neutral, cool palette. It's so easygoing, so pretty, very refined and classic and classy, and I absolutely love it. But especially when it comes to winter, I start craving the cool tones, and if it's a sort of day where I want to do something softer, this palette is just perfect. I've just filmed a whole eyeshadow palettes ranking video and my whole hand and the rest of my life is covered in glitter. Another quieter option for this time of year is the new Viseart palette. You know, I've spoken about this so many times. It's so understated and it's much more sort of neutral than it is cool. So this is definitely a bit more neutral than Vega. So if you're, you know, not a real cool tone type of person, but you want something that still fits with this time of year, that's quite wintry, but it doesn't have to be ice cold, snow flavored, this is perfect. Very wearable, really neutral shadows in here, right down the middle, not warm, not cool, really perfectly neutral. Something, you know, a little bit more fun in here if you're feeling a bit braver, but just all around a very easygoing sort of chocolate, hot chocolatey, wintry, cozy vibes from this palette. Really pretty, especially again, if you're looking for something that's work appropriate, office friendly, daytime friendly, running errands friendly, and obviously that looks different for everybody, but I like something quite soft and understated for those occasions, and this is just, you know, you can't go wrong. And now I've included 2 palettes that just scream winter for me, but amp things up a notch. You know, if you want something really impactful, something off the charts, something that's going to have everybody staring, gawping at your eyeshadow, these next 2 are where it's at. First up, Huda Beauty Icy Nude, the palette I'm wearing as we speak right now. This for me is wintry cool tones, but wearable for Charlotte. You know, I can wear this day in, day out, every day of my life and feel like I'm in my comfort zone. There's nothing scary. These shadows are all working beautifully. They're not intimidating me. I'm not scared to pick this up. You know, I'm not saving this for a party or for New Year's Eve or anything like that. I can wear this every day and really love it, but it feels very icy. Icy Nude is the perfect name for this palette because it does have some really icy, frosty, you know, you've just fallen face first into a snowman and you've come up and that's what's on your face, these shades. That's what it's giving me. I don't know about you. I hope not. Just look at that. It's so wearable, but still sort of leaning towards the cooler side of neutral and giving us that frosty, wintry vibe without it being like greys and silvers all throughout. It's so pretty. I find it so wearable, but it's so wintry. It's just absolutely perfect for the colder months. And the last palette I want to talk about is the furthest end of the spectrum. So we've had a couple of more wearable, easier going, softer palettes. We've got one very impactful, but still sort of on the brink of the coolest of tones. And then we're going full Frosty the Snowman with the Xenon palette from Natasha Denona. This is freezing frosticles, icicles dangling from your drain pipes kind of cool tones, and this is so wintry for me. There's some real silvery shades in here, but we've also got some stunning like icy blues, like the color of your fingers when you've gone out and forgotten your gloves, you know, that sort of blue is what it reminds me of. So pretty, so impactful, really stunning formulas in here. We have got some more wearable shades, something like this shadow, which is the Skift shade, really pretty neutral everyday wearable shade, but overwhelmingly cool frosty grays and blues in here, and I'm here for it. This time of year I absolutely love this palette. It's so frosty and cool and perfect. Like if you want to go all out for your Christmas party, your New Year's party, this for me is the way to go. The shimmers in here are like unhinged levels of impact, so twinkly and sparkly. You just can go into any, I mean, there's real sort of almost white shades in here just for your inner corner pop. Very Frosty the Snowman, beautiful, such a wintry palette, and one that actually I get a little scared of myself, but as soon as I open it and actually look at these shadows, they're so pretty. I always want to immediately put them straight on my eyes. And now for cheeks, something has been happening to me, okay? Over the last few weeks, I have started wanting to wear berry toned blush. Who is she? I have never in my life appreciated a berry blush until about 3 weeks ago when I suddenly started desiring them. I think I saw like a TikTok of someone wearing a berry blush and I thought immediately, I need a berry blush. And I rooted around in my drawers and remembered this little number from Chanel, which is what I'm wearing today. And although it looks quite scary, this is the blush I've got on my cheeks, and I built this up. And the combo in here, you know, the highlight has a bit of a berry shift to it, and then that gorgeous berry blush, which has this beautiful luminous finish to it. I plastered these two products all over my cheeks today, and it's still very understated, but I literally felt like a winter's day. The second I put this blush on my cheeks, I felt like it was the exact colour of you've gone out in the cold and your cheeks, you know, have started to heat up. I mean, this is the colour that my cheeks go is more like this, but this is the colour I would wish that they would go. You know, that sort of pinched cheek, flushed from the cold, icy wind. If I was in Alaska, This is the colour my cheeks would be year round. I can only envision it. That's what I think. It's gorgeous. I did not appreciate this at all in the summer. This is not a shade that I would ever reach for in the summer months, but I swear to goodness, the second I saw snow for the first time this year, immediately this is what I wanted to wear, and it just fits so perfectly with the sort of cooler tones from these sorts of palettes. This blush is it. I've instantly gone and ordered another berry toned blush. I don't know what's happening to me, but the berry tones are just, they're screaming my name right now. Another sort of cheek product that, again, as soon as the temperatures dropped, it started to get a bit wintry, I started to reach for more and more, is the Dragon palette from Hourglass. So in my autumn favourites, I put the Lotus Flower palette because that is a very autumnal palette to me. This screams winter, not only because as my skin tone is, you know, losing all of my sort of summer tan, this starts to work for me just much better. I can't really use half of this in summer, you know, certainly not the finishing powders, they're much too light, and the blush as well, some of these blushes are a bit too light and subtle on me in summer, as well as the highlighter being a bit too bright. Let's wipe that one off, I keep doing this. My hand is so sparkly, I can't tell you. These shades, you know, especially that sort of mauvey tone blush, again, a shade that I really reach for, but these are so soft. So typically in the heart of summer, I just can't use them. But when it gets to winter, my skin tone is at its lightest. These shades just work beautifully for me. They're so soft and elegant and refined, and I actually can, you know, build them up on my skin without them being too much. And they just work so beautifully all together. I love this palette. I love that I can really use it now. And this is something I'm loving in winter, not because it's, you know, cooler toned or it's berries or it's any kind of wintry shades necessarily. It's more so about what my skin tone does in winter, and therefore I start really appreciating lighter, softer, more subtle shades in my makeup. And finally, a couple of lipsticks that I am absolutely loving in these winter months. First up, the lipstick that I'm rocking today. This is one of Lisa Eldridge's Rouge Experience lipsticks. It is shade number 185, and this is just the perfect lipstick. You know, I'm wearing the Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette and that Berry Duo from Chanel today, and this lipstick just complements those tones so beautifully while not being intimidating. It's a very wearable shade. Even though I've worn it today at full opacity, it's still very wearable for daytime. This shade, so beautiful, really nice, comforting formula on my lips as well, which are another part of my body that starts to scream bloody murder come the winter months. My poor lips have just really had enough already, and it's barely December. So yeah, this is a really nice, hydrating, comforting, creamy formula that really keeps my lips feeling protected versus a bare naked lip just out there in the winter months. Not a good idea. I'll come back with them literally falling off my face. So this is beautiful. I feel like it really just goes with all of the cooler tones of winter. Another formula that I love this time of year is these Tom Ford, what are they called? Ultra Shines. This is the shade Nudiste, which again is a bit of a sort of more berry tone, but this is such a like hot chocolate berry. This is like a hot chocolate with a shot of cherry liqueur in it. Give me one of those right now. And you can see it's a bit shinier than the Lisa Eldridge, definitely a bit warmer, chocolatey tone to it. But what I love about these is A, they're super long wearing, B, they're very hydrating and gentle again on the lips. So you get a bit of that shinier finish if you want something a bit glossier, but they're not going to wear off your lips very quickly like a gloss, so you're not going to have to keep reapplying, which really can anger your lips and make them even more sore. This will go on and last for hours with a soft, gentle, really hydrating finish, really pretty shade. This is the shade Nudiste, and I just think it's perfect for winter. This is hot chocolate with a dash of some kind of cherry liqueur. Absolutely gorgeous. Black Forest Gâteau lip. Anybody? Yes, me. And there you have it. Those are my winter favorites. Please, I beg you, let me know What are your favourite makeup items to reach for in the winter months? Do you change up your makeup? Is there anything that you feel especially comes into its own? The type of shades that you like to wear, or the type of formulas that you prefer or lean towards more so in the colder winter months? Please let me know everything that you're reaching for in winter in the comment section down below. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.